Hey everybody, we are back. It's time finally to do some weather for Weather Geeks. I, of course, have been on vacation. It's kind of a staycation, actually, for me. I was checking in with the weather almost daily, so if you follow me on social media, as most of you do, you know I was occasionally posting, especially when we had some pretty active weather early last week, when we had the flooding problems and the severe weather. I was checking in on social media fairly frequently, so I didn't get to totally disconnect from the weather, but thankfully, the weekend itself was actually pretty decent, and today started okay, but then we had some hefty downpours this afternoon. We'll talk about the rain in just a second. First, some geology geeks, if you will. You probably have heard by this point that there was an earthquake, a pretty sizable earthquake, off the coast of Lake Erie this morning is where this was centered. This was a little before 11 a.m. To the north and east of Cleveland. Now, this earthquake, pretty impressive as far as the magnitude goes for this part of the country, 4.0. It's certainly not unheard of. And earthquakes in general are nothing all that unusual for the north coast of Ohio, kind of east of Cleveland, kind of this zone. That's kind of a hot spot for earthquakes, but the magnitude of this a little bit unusual. And in fact, at 4.0, this is the strongest quake to impact any part of northeast Ohio since the one that was centered in Mahoning County back on December 31st, 2011, New Year's Eve 2011. A lot of you may remember that one. It definitely shook up the valley. As far as, those who could feel this and those who could not today, I really haven't heard from anyone in our television viewing area who was able to feel this. Minuscule, perhaps almost indetectable amounts of shaking might have occurred in parts of Trumbull County. But for the most part, all these circles here where legitimate shaking was reported, and most of that was right around Cleveland and just east of Cleveland and maybe as far south as the Akron area as well. The shaking really didn't penetrate too far to the south and east. So some pretty impressive stuff. Again, nothing unheard of, but a little unusual as far as the magnitude goes. All right, just what we didn't need, huh? More rain today. Now, these are actual rain gauge numbers. This is our studio rain gauge, which is up on the roof here at WFMJ. 0.56. This is my rain gauge in Boardman. I picked up 0.84. Just not what we needed in Boardman or anywhere else for that matter. About a half an inch Latonia, Columbiana, about a half an inch in a lot of Trumbull County, and while there were some rain gauges that picked up a little more than a half an inch over in Mercer County, when we do some Doppler radar estimates, we see some locally higher amounts. There's no gauges in these locations, at least none that allow their data to be accessed by anyone, but some Doppler radar estimates here of over an inch down towards Calcutta, Glenmore, just north of East Liverpool, and then heading over into Beaver County, and then up into Mercer County as well, especially near Greenville. Hey, just what we don't need up here either after what happened last week. Some Doppler radar estimates of about an inch to an inch and a quarter in parts of Mercer County. So again, we needed this like we needed a hole in the head, but that's what happened this afternoon, and amounts got pretty heavy to the south and east as well. There were some flood advisories up earlier for parts of Beaver and Butler counties in PA, and areas just to the north of Pittsburgh. Those have been allowed to expire. All right, a radar loop over the last several hours. These things got pretty hefty, pretty much as expected. Told you yesterday and on my video this morning that we might have some tropical downpours, and that did transpire. Thankfully, everything was moving pretty quickly. We didn't have a training situation where multiple storms were just running over the same places over and over again. This is just one line that was moving along. And so in a lot of places it rained pretty hard, but only for 5 to at most 15 minutes, and then it started to let up. What a change we have coming over the next 24 hours. Dew points are still elevated on this Monday evening, but that's not going to be the case in a handful of hours. We have dew points in the lower 60s locally, but Columbus is down to 53. Dew points are in the delicious 30s and 40s across the upper Midwest this evening, and that's what's heading our way tomorrow. I mean, this is a real bargain for meteorological summer, even early in meteorological summer. Dew points near 40. That is really something. Before we get off the subject of rain, though, I did want to share a few more stats. This is where we stand for 2019 so far. We're running a surplus, no surprise, of a little more than 5.5 inches at the Youngstown Warren Airport. And don't forget, that's actually been one of the least wet spots, or driest spots, if you will, in our TV viewing area. There have been places that picked up a lot more rain than this, but the official number at the airport, compared to average through today's date, 5.59 inches. When we look back at growing season, don't forget that's defined as the last freeze of the spring to the first freeze in the fall. That's what we call growing season. This year, just like last year, that began on April 30th. And since that point at the airport, we've picked up 7.63 inches. For that same time frame, April 30th to June 11th, average is about 5.31. So over 2 inches above average, almost 2.5 inches. And again, the numbers are quite a bit more impressive in some of the areas that have been hit with tremendous flooding, including, of course, Boardman and northern Trumbull, northern Mercer got it last week. All right, let's stop talking about rain for the time being. I'm kind of tired of talking about it, and a lot of you are tired of hearing about it and dealing with it. Let's talk a little astronomy, geeks, this evening. We've covered geology. Now let's talk astronomy. It's still cloudy when I'm recording this at about 7:08, but the sky will clear quickly tonight. Whether you're out late this evening or very early tomorrow before daybreak, Jupiter is as bright as it gets in our sky. Two reasons for that. One, in the orbits around the sun, Earth and Jupiter are as close to one another now as they get at any point. And also Jupiter is at what we call opposition. What that means is that Jupiter, or the Earth I should say, is directly between the sun and Jupiter. That makes Jupiter really bright for those two reasons. Also, the moons surrounding Jupiter, some of the bigger ones, are very bright as well. And the nice thing about this is you don't need a fancy telescope to see this. Binoculars will do just fine. You can see Jupiter with the naked eye, but to get some detail on Jupiter, to see the red spot and everything that Jupiter has to offer, and to see these moons, you just need some binoculars. So check that out once the sky clears later this evening, or if you're an early riser, well before daybreak tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night will be clear enough to see this as well, but technically tonight is as bright as Jupiter will get. It'll still be pretty darn bright tomorrow night. And what a day we have coming up tomorrow. High pressure drifts across, and it's just perfection. Now, it's not pool weather, but hey, look at this. I mean, dew point's well down into the 40s. And this is good news. I wish we had a week like this, but we'll take a day like this. This is great news for farmers, for golf courses, even for just your backyard. Great evaporative conditions tomorrow. Bright sunshine, strong sun, almost as strong as the sun gets, almost as high in the sky as it gets, combined with air this dry, will make for really great evaporating conditions. A lot of this moisture, well, not enough, but some of this moisture anyway, will be released from the ground with these sorts of conditions. The only thing we'll be missing tomorrow is a gusty wind. It'd be perfect if we had bright sunshine, dew points like this, and a gusty wind to really help draw that moisture up out of the ground and try to dry out the ground a little bit. But hey, we'll take this. It is going to be just a spectacular June day for tomorrow. It's one of the reasons why this time of the year is my favorite, May, early June, because you don't get days like this in late July, and actually for at least the first half of August either. Days where you have dew points in the lower 40s and hardly a cloud in the sky, that becomes kind of unheard of later in the summer. All right, another winter coming up on Wednesday. Now, the sky may not be as pristine on Wednesday. I think there'll be some fair weather high clouds, but still a nice day overall. Enjoy that, because Thursday looks pretty darn lousy at this point. Now, I don't think we'll see bouts of necessarily heavy rain like we had today, but there'll probably be more hours of rain on Thursday. Today it was kind of a 2 or 3 hour window when a lot of us had rain. It could rain at any time on Thursday. Can't rule out a thunderstorm. It'll be a gusty breeze, and I suspect behind this front, temperatures will actually start falling some. It's going to be kind of cool outside with the showers and the gusty breeze Thursday afternoon. Better things for Friday. The forecast for Father's Day itself on Sunday is fairly similar at this point to Saturday. We can't, pinpoint exactly when the best chance for showers and storms will be. I think there'll be a lot of dry time this weekend, but I think we'll have that chance anyway of a spotty shower or a thunderstorm both Saturday and for Father's Day on Sunday. Temperatures about where you'd expect them to be at this time of the year, well up into the 70s. Now, I mentioned earlier, it's not exactly pool weather, and through the end of June, I don't see a lot of change to this. There's going to be plenty of days like tomorrow and even later this week where it's seasonably warm, but a day in the upper 80s to around 90 with humidity and dry weather, ideal pool weather in other words. Don't see a lot of those days coming as we head through the second half of June. As far as precipitation goes, not a lot of tremendously great news here either, in that I don't foresee any sort of real dry pattern unfolding. Does this mean we're going to see a lot of flooding? No, not necessarily, but I don't see long stretches of dry weather occurring either. This is the 8 to 14 day outlook, showing pretty high odds of above average precipitation, especially from our area on south. So, don't shoot the messenger is all I can say. Not great news for those who want to jump in the pool more often, and those who are just sick and tired of the rain, as most of us are. I don't love the looks of the pattern for the rest of June. All right, a long video tonight. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks as always for watching Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll have a shorter edition of this video with a quiet day coming up tomorrow. I'll have that for you same time, same place, Tuesday evening.